Hello, class. Today I'm going to be doing a screencast on your prepared or your paired composite assignment. We talked about it on Tuesday in class, so we are going to go over how to do this. So pull up your Photoshop and let's go ahead and choose New. You can do it from here up on File, or you can do it right here at the opening screen. Let's go ahead and title it your last name underscore, and let's just say paired. Now it can either be 12 by 8 in inches, or you could do 900, or you could do it in pixels, which would be 900 by 600. Either way, it doesn't matter. I'll just leave it in inches right now. Resolution, leave 72, and make sure the background contents is set to transparent. So by default, everything is okay. Just make sure the background contents is set to transparent, and go ahead and hit OK. Okay. So the first thing we need to do here is we need to make some new layers. So let's just add 2 new layers, and we'll do it down here. You see this little piece of paper with a fold in it? Let's hit that twice to add 2 new layers. And let's go ahead and name these layers so we remember what they are. Let's name layer 1 clip. Let's name layer 2 pick 1. And let's name layer 3, and I'm just double clicking on the word layer 3. Let's name it pick 2. Okay, so there we have it. We have our 3 layers. And now we're going to build what I call a clipping mask. But you need to first make sure that you're on the clipping layer. And remember, if something goes wrong, it's usually because you're on the wrong layer. So let's come up over here and grab our, rectangular marquee tool. And let's go ahead and pull out a box that is roughly 4.5 by 5. Let's talk about this 2 things real quick. Number 1, you can see the dimensions are automatically displayed there, the width and height. So that's great. Photoshop is automatically doing that, helping me make the size of the box I want. Secondly, if your pictures are that you're choosing to make your paired composite or landscape, you want this to be the width to be longer. If they're portrait, you want the height to be longer. Also, you don't necessarily have to follow my 5 by 4.5 dimensions. If you want to make the boxes bigger, that's up to you. Use your own design eye and do what you like. Just make sure it fits on the canvas. So once again, I'm recommending in here that you either do 4.5 by 5 or 5 by 4.5, depending on if you have landscape or portrait pictures. But you can also make those bigger if you want. So you could make the box 6 by 5, because that would both of those would fit on the canvas. So it's really, or 5 by 6. It's really up to you. But just for the sake of argument, so I'm just going to do, because mine are landscape, I'm going to do 5 by 4.5. And this is just rough. It doesn't have to be exact. That looks just fine to me. And then I'm going to go ahead and fill this box with the color black. And as you can see, black is already selected here. I could change the color if I want, but black is just fine. And I'm going to fill it with the paint bucket. This is the paint bucket tool right here. It looks just like a paint bucket. I'm going to go ahead and fill that, and I have my box there. So I'm going to deselect the marching ants there by hitting Command D, and I'm going to get off my paint bucket tool and just go to my mover tool. And what I want to do now is I want to make a copy of this clip layer. So I'm just going to take it and drag it to the new layer icon, which is right next to the trash can, just right here. Just drag it there, and that will instantly create a copy for you. So that's perfect. So remember, you just take the clip copy and drag it to this the new layer icon here right next to the trash can. So let's move the clip layer. Just grab it, click it once with left click, and put it above the pick layer. So all I did there was click once on the clip copy and moved it above the pick layer 1. Now I'm going to take and you can't see it, but there's 2 black boxes there. With the clip copy selected, that layer selected, I'm now going to move that second box over and create one just large box. So both of my images, I'm going to put one image on this side and one image on this side, and then I'm going to clip them to the boxes. So my boxes are right where I want them. Now I need to go grab my 2 images. So I'm going to go find them, and they're on my desktop. And I put them in a folder called Paired Pics. I'm just going to go ahead and select both of them, open them both at the same time. I'm going to hold my Shift key down to select the other one. And I'm just going to open both of them. So let's see, I have a punk rocker here and a cubicle. So I think you could probably tell the story I'm going for here. I am going to, now at this point you want to stylize your images a little bit. And I think that I'm not going to worry about it too much right now. I'm going to let you take your creativity and play around with it. You could enhance the colors, play with the colors like we talked in class. Like for instance, I might go ahead and just, I could put a layer adjustment on, but I'm just going to do a quick adjustment up here with the curves directly onto the image instead of doing the adjustment layer. And I want to make it just a little bit, I want to make it a little bit brighter, maybe pull a little bit brighter and maybe a little more contrast to kind of set some sweetness to it. Something along that lines, just so that I have this kind of sweet, really nice desktop-y cubicle. And then, so during the day, this is my day job, and at night I am a totally different person, or a punk rocker. So take some time to stylize your images. Do whatever you want here. Add filters, do some color correction, have some fun with it. So let's go ahead and select image 1 here. So we'll go Command A to select all. Let's go ahead and copy it by going to Command C. And let's go back to our empty canvas. Now this is important. Make sure you're on pick 1. We're going to paste our picture 1 into the layer pick 1. So make sure you're on the layer pick 1. Let's go Command V to paste that image. Now it's too big, so I'm going to go ahead and go Command T, transform to make that smaller. I'm going to hold my Shift key down to keep my proportions on the image correct. I'm going to drag it back up. And I took my finger off the shift. I literally just dragged it back up. And I'm going to hold my Shift key down again to just keep my proportions and make it a little smaller. And that's okay for now. And I'm just going to move it over here where it's going to go. It's going to go on top of that box. And whenever you, to end the transform option, you have to double click. If you don't double click, you can't do anything else until you do. Like I can't go over there yet. And it gives me the option, do I want to apply the transformation? Yes. Or you can just double click. So make sure you always, when you're doing a transform, you double click to end the operation. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and clip this. I'm going to use a mask and clip this to that clip layer. So this image now hides inside that first black box. So I am going to, I have transformed my image, and now I'm going to right click on pick 1. And if you can't right click, I believe in class someone helped me, you can control right click, and that should pull up this whole nother option. And you're going to see create clipping mask. So once again, I just right clicked on pick 1, and I'm going to choose create clipping mask. And so that instantly puts my image in that black box, and it's bounded to that box only. So now if I want to transform that a little bit, maybe make, oops, I didn't hold my Shift key down there to keep my proportions. Maybe pull out some of that sweetness. I want to see those clipboards in there because that detail is kind of funny. Or if I want to get more of it in there, I can make it smaller. I think I'm going to go with something like that. All right, so there's image 1. Let's go ahead and grab image 2, and let's simply Command A, and then we'll copy with Command C. We'll come back to our paired assignment here. We'll go to pick 2. Make sure you select pick 2, layer 2 here. And let's Command V. And now I've got to make that a little smaller. So I'm going to go Command T for transform. I'm going to hold my Shift key and drag that top left-hand corner down. And actually, I'm going to leave it just about like that. And remember, to get out of the transform operation, you have to double click. So now I'm going to double click. And that gets me out of the transform operation. Now I want to do the same thing. I want to pick 2. I want to create a clipping mask to the clip copy. So I'm going to right click or control click and choose control right click and choose create clipping mask. And boom, there's my punk rocker in my box. So I'm going to Command T, and I'm going to make him, I really want him to be the focal point. Oops, so I'm going to hold my Shift key down and make him a little bigger, maybe pull him down a little bit right there. All right, so there we go. So there's my paired composite. A day he has a nice job where he's kind of a, I don't know, some sort of maybe interior decorator or something. And at night he goes out and is a punk rocker. So he's kind of his alter ego. Now, one last thing I want to do here, actually 2 last things. I'm going to double click on the clip layer here. I'm going to click it twice. And that pulls up these layer styles. Now, styles that I can add to the layer. And I want to add a stroke to that box to kind of differentiate and frame my pictures. And you can see there I have a nice stroke. If I click on the word stroke, it gives me options. I can increase the size. I can change it to the inside, the center, the out. I'm just going to leave it on the inside. And I think right there is fine, 5 pixels. You can play around with that. That's totally up to you. There's some other options in here like the drop shadow, but they're not going to really, you're not going to really see them because of the black box. So just put your stroke on there and hit OK. Now we do need to do the same thing to the clip copy. And how we're going to do that is simply now I could just do the same thing, double click on the clip copy and hit stroke there. But an easier way to do it is just to get the exact same parameters is just to right click or control right click, copy the layer style, and then left click the clip copy and right click and paste the layer style. So now I have both styles exactly. Now you could play around, well, essentially that is the assignment. We're done there. Now you want to just crop out the transparency. So just pull it down. Oops, and I have a little crop left there at the top. Let me back up there and do that again. And then I'm going to double click to transform the crop. I'm still getting a little there. I could try to crop that out a little bit. And there we go. So there is my paired composite. So that's your assignment. Have fun with it, and I look forward to seeing what you guys come up with.